You ever feel like you're just blending into the background? Like you're doing what everyone else does? Wearing the same clothes, saying the same stuff, chasing the same things? Yeah, I've been there. But let me tell you something. The second I stopped trying to be a copy of someone else and started being me, everything changed. Today, I'm going to show you how to become the most authentic, unique version of yourself. So people don't just notice you, they remember you. I used to say yes to everyone, agree with things I didn't believe in, act like I liked stuff just so I'd fit in. Guess what? Nobody respected me. There was this one time in class, everyone wanted to skip the assignment and just mess around. I almost went along, but something in me said, nah, that's not right. I hesitated, but then I spoke up and said, I'm gonna do the work. It was awkward. Everyone stared at me for a second. Authenticity starts when you stop living for other people's approval. But after class, one of the guys came up and said, yo, that was actually cool. Respect. The moment I said, nah, that's not my thing, people looked at me differently. They might not always agree, but they respected it. And respect, fake approval. If you want to practice, start small. Next time someone asks you to do something you don't vibe with, just say, no thanks. It feels weird at first, but it gets easier. Imagine two dudes. One always nods and agrees just to be liked. The other says, actually, I see it differently, with confidence. The second one, he stands out. People remember the person who's real, not the one who just goes with the flow. Who's more memorable? Exactly. So be real. Say what you mean. The right people will respect you for it, and you'll respect yourself even more. Being authentic means you know what you stand for. But honestly, figuring that out, it's not always easy. I remember staring at a blank page, trying to write down what actually mattered to me. Not what my friends or parents expected, but what I believed deep down. For me, it was discipline, loyalty, and growth. But it took time to figure that out. Sometimes I felt lost, like I was just copying what everyone else said was important. But the more I asked myself, what do I actually care about? The clearer it got. When you figure out your values and actually live by them, people feel it. You're not just another face, you're someone with a backbone. I had this moment in class where everyone wanted to cheat on a test. My gut said no, but my brain was screaming, don't be weird! I stuck to my values anyway. It was awkward, but I felt proud after. Living by your values isn't always popular. Sometimes people will question you or even laugh, but that's when you know you're being real. If you're not sure what your values are, try this. Write down what makes you mad, what inspires you, and what you wish you saw more of in the world. That's your starting point. And when you start living by those values, even in small ways, you'll feel more confident, more respected, and way more like yourself. That's rare. And rare equals sign attractive. People are drawn to someone who stands for something, even if they don't always agree. So take the time to figure out what matters to you. Write it down, live it out. That's how you become unforgettable. Clothes alone don't make you authentic, but the way you wear them, that can tell your story. I used to just copy what everyone else wore, afraid to stand out, worried I'd get roasted for being different. But expressing yourself through style, that's powerful. The first time I wore something bold, I felt nervous, but also kind of free. Yeah, some people stared. A couple even laughed. But a few came up and said, yo, that's actually dope. That's when I realized confidence is contagious. I stopped dressing how I thought others wanted me to and started wearing stuff that felt like me. Sometimes it was streetwear, sometimes just a hoodie and jeans, but it was always real. If you want to find your style, start small. Try on something new, even if it feels weird at first. Mix up colors, patterns, or accessories. Take a risk, even if it's just a hat or a pair of shoes. Doesn't matter if it's streetwear, clean fits, or even simple basics. When it feels real to you, it makes you unique. The key is to own it. And if you mess up, if you wear something and it flops, who cares? That's part of the process. Every style icon started by looking a little awkward. Authenticity is visible. When you wear what feels true to you, people notice. And the right ones, they'll respect it, even if they don't get it. So go ahead. Experiment, stand out, and let your style speak for you. That's how you become unforgettable. I used to hide all my struggles, pretend I was perfect. I thought if I showed any weakness, people would judge me or think less of me. But honestly, that just made me feel more alone. I remember sitting in my room, staring at my phone, wanting to text someone about what I was going through, but I kept it all inside. The first time I opened up to a friend about my struggles, I was terrified. But instead of judging me, they listened. And suddenly, I realized I wasn't the only one feeling that way. When I started being real about my failures, people connected with me more. It was like a wall came down and suddenly we could actually relate to each other. Authenticity isn't pretending you've got it all figured out. It's being honest about the fact that you're still learning, still growing, and that's okay. I started writing down what I was feeling, my fears, my hopes, even the stuff I was embarrassed about. It helped me understand myself and made it easier to talk about it with others. It's saying, yeah, I've messed up, but I'm learning. And when you admit that, you give other people permission to be real too. I remember a time I totally bombed a test. Instead of making excuses, I just said, yeah, I messed up, but I'm gonna do better next time. My friends respected that way more than if I'd tried to act like it didn't bother me. That's human. And humans connect with humans, not fake robots. When you show your real self, you attract real friends. If you're scared to open up, start small. Share something honest with someone you trust, or write it down first. The more you practice, the easier it gets. Vulnerability is a superpower. It takes guts to be real, but that's what builds trust and real connection. When you open up, you might just inspire someone else to do the same. So next time you're struggling, don't hide it. Reach out, be honest. That's how you build real confidence. And that's how you become unforgettable. The most authentic people, they're the ones who chase what excites them, even if it scares them a little. When you follow your passion, you light up in a way that's impossible to fake. I remember the first time I picked up a paintbrush. I was terrible. Paint everywhere. Nothing looked right. But I kept going, and every time I tried, I got a little better. That feeling of progress, it's addictive. My friend Maya, she started learning guitar. At first, her fingers hurt and every chord buzzed, but she stuck with it, and now she plays at open mics. People notice her confidence, but what they don't see is all the hours she put in when nobody was watching. And then there's my guy Alex. He's obsessed with coding. He built his first app in his bedroom and it totally crashed. But he didn't quit. Now, he's helping other students learn to code, and his passion is contagious. Passions come in all shapes. Sports, music, art, science, volunteering, you name it. I tried martial arts and honestly, I got knocked down more times than I can count. But every time I got back up, I felt stronger. That's how you build real confidence. Sometimes your passion is about helping others. I volunteered at a local shelter and it changed my whole perspective. Seeing the impact I could make, even in small ways, made me feel more like myself than ever before. The truth is, you might fail a bunch of times before you succeed. But every time you try, you learn something new about yourself. That's how you discover what really matters to you. When you do what lights you up, people can feel it. That energy, it's magnetic. You inspire others just by being real about what you love. Don't just follow trends, create them. Try new things, even if you feel awkward or out of place. That's how you find your edge. And when you share your passion, whether it's your art, your music, your ideas, you give other people permission to do the same. That's how you become unforgettable. This is the hardest part, because being unique means some people won't get you. They might even laugh, but that's good. Because if everyone gets you, you're probably not being authentic. I used to be terrified of standing out. Now I embrace it. The weird things, the quirks, the stuff that makes me different, that's my edge. That's what makes me unforgettable. So here's the truth. Being authentic isn't about trying to be cool. It's about having the guts to be real, to stop copying, to stop chasing approval, and to start living as you. Because when you're authentic, you don't compete anymore. You stand alone. And that's powerful. Stop blending in. Start standing out. Be so unapologetically you that people have no choice but to remember your name. You want to be unique? Then stop faking, stop waiting, and start living your story. Trust me, the world doesn't need another copy. It needs the real you.